This is Newswatch Journal, a recorded public affairs presentation of the TV 28 newsroom. Now your Newswatch Journal host, Bruce Dunbar.
Good day and welcome to Newswatch Journal. In the very recent past, the Reagan administration issued a ruling regarding car safety. The ruling said quite simply that all cars sold in the United States must have automatic seat belts or airbags installed by 1989 unless states representing 2/3 of the nation's population approved legislation requiring mandatory seat belts. Our guest today is the developer, or one of the developers, of the airbag system. His name is Robert Jackson. He is currently president of Triax Tube Company in Benton Harbor. And Mr. Jackson has some disagreements with what I just said. First of all, the legal question, and secondly, whether or not airbags are really good safety devices. Let's tackle the legal ramifications of the Reagan administration's ruling first.
Well, let's go back to the mid-60s when the airbags were formulated, and a law was passed in the early 70s requiring airbags in all cars by 1982. Well, no one ever thought 82 would get here. 1981, President Reagan put an indefinite hold on the airbag systems. The Supreme Court said he could not do that. So the Supreme Court ruling says that the original law requiring airbags in all cars are in fact to be implemented. It does not give any provision to abridge that law or change it. So the mandatory seatbelt option has not yet stood the test of the Supreme Court. It would probably require legislation from Congress, and there is no such legislation in preparation.
So what you're saying then, in essence, is that airbags are required in all cars as quickly as possible, and the provision for automatic seat belts really doesn't address the issue as presented by the court.
That's correct.
Okay. Secondly, let's talk a little bit about your background in the development of the airbag. Tell us how you came in contact with the program, what you did specifically, and when.
I was with Olin Matheson in the 1970 to 72 period, and they were some of the original developers, along with Allied Chemical and some others, determining what systems could be formulated to prepare an airbag for an occupant use in a car. And from that point on, I have been an advocate against airbags since 1972.
Okay. What did you do in the development of the airbag specifically?
I worked on the manufacturing of the hardware for the inflator system, and I have several inventions in that respect, and we can go into some of those later. I do think, though, the public is unaware of what they're dealing with an airbag system, and there's been quite a lack of information. And I would like to present some of that at this time, if I could.
Okay, you have a number of drawings here, diagrams that you'd like to...
Like a typical engineer, you can't say anything without drawings or something to talk
give us,
about.
before you start that, give us just a little bit of your background as an engineer to give us some idea of your credibility in the field.
I'm a metallurgical engineer. I graduated from the school in '61, have practiced engineering and came up through the manufacturing ranks, started my own business in a technical field 10 years ago, and I'm a profitable business in Benton Harbor, Michigan. I have patents in tubing industries, and I have some in special trailers. I've marketed those, and I have done well with them, and have a very broad base of engineering background.
Okay, great, Bob. Let's take a look at some of your diagrams here and give us an idea of specifically what an airbag system is and what it's supposed to do.
Okay. The first diagram will show you the car, and it shows the main portions of the airbag system. You have a sensor that is in a bumper that feeds a computer to determine whether the accident is warranting an airbag. You have an airbag in the passenger side. There is an airbag in the driver's seat or driver's steering wheel. You then have clips for electrical connection to the battery. Now, this system, if you visualize what it is supposed to do, you can visualize going down the road at 60 miles an hour, and you veer off and you run into a bridge abutment. A lot of things have to happen very rapidly. The sensor has to tell the car that it has in fact hit something of magnitude. It then has to determine how much gas is needed to prepare the filling of a bag. It then has to fill that bag, and it's about this big, put it in front of your face before your nose travels this far after you've hit a brick wall. at 60 miles an hour.
So in other words, everything has to happen within a matter of milliseconds, I would think.
Correct. There's not enough time to reach under the dashboard and open a valve to fill the bag. And to do this, it is done in a very rapid manner. And to continue further on some of the diagrams.
Here, we'll look at this camera over here, I think.
Okay. This diagram shows in the shaded areas the reinforcing necessary in the dashboard in order to back up the airbag system. The red container is the canister that inflates the bag, the green is the bag, and the yellow is the little safety deflector that is in front of the bag to protect it while it's in the car. All of this reinforcing is necessary, which adds to the cost, because when the bag is trying to hold you in the accident, it does not do any good to have you and the bag go out through the dashboard. So you are talking about significant structural changes in order to make it work. If we look further at the inflator, and this is the area that I had worked on quite significantly. Now you get down to some of the real concerns that I have with the airbag systems. This bag is inflated with high pressure gas that is stored in your car at about 1600 psi, which is more pressure than is in a normal welding bottle in a reasonable shop. The yellow items on the left are blasting caps. That's what they're called, and that's what they are made from. And they are attached to two types of charges, a green one and a red one. The computer, when it determines there's an accident has occurred, if the accident's less than 9 miles an hour, neither one of these blasting caps are supposed to energize, and nothing is to happen. From 9 miles to 19 miles an hour, one blasting cap is supposed to detonate the internal green charge. That would raise the pressure inside the combustion chamber to about 5,000 psi, which is larger than any permitted stored pressure container in industry. It then comes out and mixes with the air, blows out another solid metal disc at the back end called a rupture plate, and you literally blow it out. To make sure it goes out, you have a piston rod to push it out. The air then enters into the bag to fill the bag in front of the person. The red is for the high volume or high velocity accidents, so you have a double charge. If that charge is not able to get out of the canister in time, it will in fact explode like a hand grenade. In fact, if you took just this exterior end and taped it shut, there would be a very effective terrorist bomb. To give you some idea of the shape of what this is, I brought one with me here, and you can see from the end. I'm sorry.
That weighs a few pounds,
yeah,
doesn't it?
It goes about 7 or 8 pounds, and the inside chamber is the combustion chamber. And for those of you that are hunters, that's about a 6-gauge shotgun. It's about enough powder for 2 hand grenades. And this is the type of canister that would be in your glove compartment to propel the bag to blow it up in front of you.
So literally and figuratively, it's a potentially explosive situation with all that dynamite involved.
It is dynamite, blasting caps, inside a pressurized container to boot.
And it's
in
hooked
your car,
up to a battery.
Hot wired, 24 hours a day.
How reliable is that computer that you mentioned, which is supposed to instruct the system as to what it should do?
Very reliable. But if you've noticed, there is an increase of what people call microwave interference, and microwaves are turning on garage door openers, and garage door openers are setting off other things, and computers have trouble with CB radios. This can be set off rather easily and unpredictably. And going down the highway and a bag is just detonated unknowingly could give you a rather interesting problem while you're driving.
Well,
I think it would scare you half to death.
Well, and it could cause an accident, I would think, very easily under certain circumstances.
To proceed with a few more of these, this particular one is one that I had worked on and one of the inventions that we had. You can see I've increased the volume and reduced the pressure, but I still have in that red area a very large blasting requirement in order to fill the bags. Looking at the driver's side, there's a problem in that there is insufficient area in the steering wheel, and that's the only place you can put this little hand grenade is in your steering wheel. There's insufficient area to have air. Well, the air is very necessary to go along with the blasting powder because the blasting powder is very hot, and compressed air cools as it expands. So what they've done in the driver's side is that they have the blue wires, which are hot wired to the battery. The yellow is your blasting cap, and you have your dynamite, which is red. The little green articles are not shrapnel or designed to be shrapnel. They are heat sinks, and that is supposedly to absorb the heat of the detonation before it exits the little purple holes to fill the bag. That's what's in your steering wheel, right in front of you, if you have an airbag system that's incorporated into the steering wheel.